Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. Please, before we get into today's stream, like, subscribe and hit that bell notification button. Today we are taking a look at what's going on here. So Bitcoin is up another 0.6% and Ethereum is up nicely as well, 0.4% this morning, all within the last 24 hours there. So Bitcoin is approaching that $26,000 level here. We have 25. Let's check this again. No, this was not refreshed then. I was thinking I've seen it higher than this morning. We're up over 1.6% for Bitcoin and up 2% for Ethereum. So we've got $26,344. That's more like it. And we have Ethereum set at $1,620 here as well. So nice moves to the upside. Very nice to see this. Obviously, we are starting to approach the weekend now, so we may start to see some more sideways action. But overall, it's nice to see us back above that $26,000 level. When we went down to that $25,000 level, things were looking a little bit uneasy, but we're back above that now, and we are looking at higher prices again. Let's check in with the chat this morning. Alex Bell, good morning. Thank you very much for tuning in. Monkey Nuts, morning. Jess, how's the holiday? I'm enjoying my holiday so much, but unfortunately, I am coming back home today. So we'll be back in the studio tomorrow for another live stream. Let's see what's going on in the cryptocurrency news this morning. We have the US inflation data. It came in worse than expected. So it was forecast to be at 3.6. And you can see here, if we refresh this page as well, it came in at 3.7. So it's not that much higher, but it is that little bit higher. You can see there that we have had two inflation increases on the bounce now. So back in June 2023, the year-on-year inflation was set at 3%, but then we saw 3.2%. Now we're seeing 3.7%. Now, since between this slot here, prior to 3.2% inflation being announced, we had an interest rate change. Now we've had two pieces of inflation data. We've had an increase from 3% to 3.7% over the last 2 months. So next time we have an interest rate data announcement, it could be that we are going to see some interest rate hikes. And that is something that the markets don't like to see. We have seen some positive movements in the price of Bitcoin in the last 24 hours, but we did see a lot of volatility at that period of time when the announcement took place. Let me know if any of you guys traded that announcement. It's always very, very volatile. But as I said in yesterday's stream, it's pretty common to see the price of Bitcoin go really, really wacky, really, really volatile when that news is announced, and then sort of go back to the price it was at previously prior to that announcement. And that seems to have happened again, but we do have a little bit of bullish momentum there as well. We will be looking at all the indicators later on in today's stream, so make sure to stay tuned until the very end. But let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news. Big fears here. Now, we've seen the Binance US CEO leave the exchange. We've seen the SEC crack down on the centralized exchange. And now we're seeing a warning from Adam Cochran, who says we're going to zero if Binance collapses. So we can see he has said life behind bars would be the good outcome for CZ, citing an unverified tip about Binance. Now, the SEC have been going hard on Binance, trying to work out what's really been going on behind the scenes at the cryptocurrency exchange. Now, I don't want to spread FUD about this. I would like to think that Binance is fine, but we never know for sure. This is why I always say, keep your funds off centralized exchanges. We are in cryptocurrency. Well, the majority of us are for self-custody, so we need to be able to do that. We can't cheer about self-custody and then continue to use centralized exchanges. If you are a fan of self-custody, take advantage of that. When using centralized exchange, you don't own the keys to your cryptocurrency, and as we saw with FTX, you can lose access to your funds immediately. So be prepared for that. Just try and be as cautious as possible. I try and hold as little as possible in centralized exchanges. Now, we are seeing fears that we could go to zero if Binance is really doing something that they shouldn't, and if Binance fails. Now, I do believe if Binance failed, it would be pretty terrible for the markets. We saw that with FTX last year. We saw a massive move to the downside. Binance is even bigger than that. So you can see the problems that we could face with Binance. However, I don't think we would go to zero, and I don't think we would go to zero forever. What we've seen here is if Binance went down now, it would actually be, I believe, a pretty positive thing. This is going to sound crazy, that we had FTX first, because the market now knows, everybody in the markets now, the majority of us were in the markets last year in November when FTX collapsed. And we've all seen this happen now. We know how the markets will work and how they will act. We will see probably if Binance were to go down, we would see a massive move to the downside, that everybody would know, that everybody in the markets has seen what happened last time. Now, we can't say it's going to happen exactly the same again if Binance were to go, but we can see some similarities there. And a lot of people would have that confidence that things would bounce back, and they could potentially take advantage of a move to the downside if this would take place. Now, I would like to say Binance crashing would be absolutely catastrophic. It's not definite. This is just all alleged. This is reported. But in my opinion, the response from the markets would be immediately very, very negative. But we all know how we all survived FTX, and we know we could survive Binance. This is something that we've been through, and everyone in the markets here has already been through. So that's, I believe, a really positive thing to come out of this. FTX crashing was a horrible experience. A lot of people lost a huge amount of money, but we've gained respect for those, how this would work. We have gained understanding of how this would work, and we would then be prepared to understand if this happens again, we can still get through it. So we are saying here that Binance US CEO has left the company. Apparently, this guy has been tipped off about what's actually happening behind the scenes at Binance, and he's said that they've warned about sketchy operations at Binance, saying previously that will be fine in no time if the largest crypto exchange eventually goes under. However, the crypto analyst now believes that Binance's collapse would be more disastrous and could take a longer time for the market to recover, following an unverified tip he got. So he said, got a tip that I've not yet been able to verify. I had to redact my will be fine stance and replace it with will probably be okay. Unless the other part is real, in which case, holy F, we're going to zero and going to have to rebuild up again over time. So I'd like to know what his tip is. Is CZ Satoshi Nakamoto? Is that what he's hinting at? Let's take a look at this. Cochran said he engaged some journalists to confirm the validity of the tip, and if true, life behind bars would be good outcome for CZ. So it's worth noting that the crypto analyst has been a critic of Binance. In August, he argued that Binance was been selling some Bitcoin using the SafeU fund and industry recovery fund to prop up BNB prices. So historically, this guy has been very, very negative about the centralized exchange Binance, but if it does go down, and we can all agree that would be negative for the cryptocurrency space, it's just how long would that negativity last? That's the real question there. And this may not even happen. This is all alleged. So fingers crossed Binance is okay. That would, I do believe it would be detrimental to the cryptocurrency space, but I know we can get through it. We've been through much worse. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news. First of all, actually, when I say we've been through much worse, we have been through much worse. If you take a look at Mt. Gox was responsible for 70% of Bitcoin transactions at the time it went defunct. It disappeared off the internet. If you didn't know about Mt. Gox, I can't even get it out of my mouth. Mt. Gox was a cryptocurrency exchange towards the start of Bitcoin. And it was one of the first cryptocurrency exchanges, as I said, responsible for 70% of Bitcoin transactions, and then it completely disappeared offline. It's taken years and years and years for people to get some of their funds back. We're still looking at that process right now, 10 years later. So what we are seeing here is Binance doesn't have responsibility of 70% of the network transactions. So in terms of percentages, we have seen a lot worse. Obviously, right now, the market cap is much higher. The cryptocurrency industry is much bigger. So we could see a big negative effect. But I do believe we can get through it. If we can get through Mt. Gox, we can get through this. If we can get through FTX, we can get through this. And this may not even happen. This is all alleged. So let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news today. We are talking about FTX and the possibility of all of our altcoins dumping. Now, we have seen here the FTX granted court approval to sell $3.4 billion in crypto assets amid bankruptcy proceedings. Now, take a look at this. What we do know is that they hold $1.16 billion in Solana. Now, this is something I've been saying here on the channel since FTX collapsed last year. Solana is a token I was a big fan of in the last bull market. I invested quite early on, made some nice profits, took some nice profits. As soon as FTX went offline last year, I was shorting Solana because FTX were known to be holding a huge amount of Solana, and that was a profitable trade. Now, since then, Solana has been growing. It's made some nice partnerships. People are starting to get bullish on this token again, but I've always thought to myself, it has that cloud hanging over it, so I've not invested in Solana since the previous bull market. Now, yes, I shorted it when FTX collapsed, but I've not been an investor in this. And although we've seen some positive partnerships, this cloud has not gone away. And Solana will be a much better project and much better off if FTX just get this over and done with and lose that bag. Because while they hold that bag, many people, including myself, are staying away from it. We also have $560 million of Bitcoin, $192 million in Ethereum, $137 million in APT. So they have a huge amount of cryptocurrency here. The biggest concern, I would say, is Solana. Obviously, Bitcoin's market cap is much higher than that. Ethereum's market cap is much higher than that. Solana is a top 20 altcoin. Let's see where it's ranked currently. Number 11 in terms of market cap. It is up 5% in the last 24 hours despite this news, but this could cause a real big problem. $1.16 billion worth of Solana being dumped onto the market could cause a move to the downside. Its market cap is $7.7 billion. This is a huge percentage there, and one we should all be definitely be aware of. If that day comes, I'll be shorting it once again. Let's see what else is going on for the cryptocurrency news. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button. What we have here is the SEC has fined Stoner Cats for selling unregistered securities. The SEC is still focusing on trying to get those projects that they believe are offering securities out of the markets. Now, we've all seen this over and over again. The SEC have accused Binance and Coinbase of offering unregistered securities. They've targeted specific projects saying they're unregistered securities. The thing here is the projects don't believe they are securities, therefore they're not registering as a security. So the SEC is saying, look, you're offering unregistered securities. The projects don't believe they're a security because the guidelines to determine whether an asset is a security or not is set by the SEC, and it's unclear. So they're the problems we're facing here. Big battles going on. So far, we've seen a big win for the cryptocurrency space within the Ripple lawsuit against the SEC, because that is the same debate in that lawsuit as well. But we haven't seen the outcome of that entire lawsuit yet. And until we do, I don't think we will get many more answers from the SEC. And I personally believe they are regulating by enforcement. A lot of other people do within the cryptocurrency space as well. And this seems like another case of that. Also, to do with the SEC and regulation, Brad Garlinghouse, the founder and CEO of Ripple, XRP's issuer, have said 80% of Ripple's hiring this year will be outside the US. So we've obviously seen Ripple against the SEC in court in their lawsuit for a very long time now. And they're saying, look, we just need to start working offshore. It's not working here. The SEC are not regulating the cryptocurrency transparently, and it's making it so difficult for cryptocurrency companies. So we're just going to look further afield. So he has said, Gary Gensler is a hammer and everything looks like a nail. You know, just saying people should register with the SEC does not mean what the law says is that these are securities. In fact, we now have seen, at least in the Ripple case, is the judge in our case very clearly secondedly stated XRP is not a security, period. So we're seeing this over and over again. He's also said markets like we have here in Singapore, certainly even what we've been seeing in Hong Kong, the UK, Dubai, where the governments are partnering with the industry, and you're seeing leadership providing clear rules and just seeing growth. And frankly, that's why Ripple is hiring there. 80% of our hiring this year will be outside of the US. So what we are seeing here is they are looking further afield. PG is saying, morning Jess, what is your regular time for lives, or is it different each day? At the moment, it's been very different each day. As you can tell, I'm not in my usual studio, but we will be back in the studio tomorrow, and we are going back to our usual times from tomorrow of around 11 a.m. BST time. So make sure to stay tuned for that and turn on bell notifications if you haven't already, so you don't miss it. Please don't forget to like as well. And let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news. Crypto exchange CoinEx has lost over $28 million as hackers drain hot wallets. So this is after nearly 4 years of silence. The CoinEx team has dropped an update on the incident, disclosing that an investigative team is handling the issue. So we'll see what plays out there. Let's move on to the next one. We've got BitMEX launches predictions market services. So users of BitMEX can now make predictions on upcoming real life events. So we can see here predictions markets, a unique breed of crypto derivatives, has arrived at BitMEX. In addition, that allows our traders to predict and take positions on the outcomes of real life events across a diverse range of topics, industries, and more. So we can see here a prediction on the recovery rate of FTX's customer claims. We've got a prediction on the SEC's approval or not of a Bitcoin ETF. And we've got a prediction on whether SBF is sentenced to jail. So I actually think these are quite a fun tools here added to BitMEX. Really interesting that they've done this. I like that a lot. That's just a little bit more fun, a little bit more exciting, rather than just checking the Bitcoin chart every minute of the day. Let's see what else is going on here. We've got Coinbase are integrating the Lightning Network, the layer 2 solution for Bitcoin, meant to speed up transactions and lower transaction fees. What else have we got here? We have Telegram reignites plans to integrate TON network. So a popular messaging app has doubled its users since the US SEC ended its plans to integrate a self-custody wallet in 2019. And at Token 2049, which is a cryptocurrency event in Singapore, Telegram revealed they are finally realizing their plans of integrating a self-custodial crypto wallet based on the TON network, the open network. So big changes here, and we'll see how this plays out. It's good to see big platforms like this looking to integrate cryptocurrencies. We've seen it with Telegram. We could potentially be seeing it with X, the former Twitter platform as well. And with that, we could be seeing a drive in adoption there. And we are getting closer and closer to that Bitcoin halving. So it's not too poorly timed there, I would say. Let's see what else is going on here. MetaMask will introduce Bitcoin network compatibility. This is brilliant news. So they will be MetaMask will now be compatible with Bitcoin and other non-EVM blockchains. So let's take a look at this. According to MetaMask, Snaps will allow users to gain insight into transactions, subscribe to notifications, and connect to software wallets to non-EVM compatible blockchains. This means Snaps also will also allow users to use networks like Bitcoin, Solana, and Cosmos, previously unavailable in the MetaMask interface. And I think that's a massive improvement for MetaMask. We are seeing here that we want to see some improvements on self-custody, making it easier for users. I think MetaMask is one of the most popular wallets to use outside of centralized, when people are moving from centralized exchanges. So to see it be compatible with other blockchains is really, really important there. Let's take a look at the chat. Lee says, bit of a silly title, Jeff. Sol is starting to go. Sol is starting to go up. However, FTX have been granted court approval to sell $3.4 billion in crypto assets, with $1.16 billion in Solana in their holdings. And if we take a look at the market cap of Solana, it's currently trading at $18.83, but it has a market cap of $7.74 billion. So if they are going to sell their $1.16 billion of Solana, that could be detrimental for the price. So we just need to be very careful there. Obviously, Solana is up in the last 24 hours, but there could be some big volatility to come here. Now FTX have that approval there. The cryptocurrency is in the hands of the liquidators, and if they want to liquidate that asset, they now can. So we need to be prepared for that. Let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news here. One last article, and then we'll be analyzing the price of Bitcoin. Addresses behind CoinEx $55.5 million exploit linked to North Korea's Lazarus Group. So the CoinEx attackers have ties to Lazarus Group. Likewise, the hackers behind the recent Stake and AlphaPo exploits. So we need to be as cautious as ever. We are seeing more hacks than ever at the moment. Well, not more than ever, but we are seeing a lot at the moment. So just be as careful as possible within the cryptocurrency space. Let's see what's going on here. Alia says, if there are less Bitcoin to mine, will there be less miners and so less energy needed? No, what's going to happen here is when the amount of Bitcoin left to mine doesn't affect the amount of miners. If people want to mine, they will mine. As the Bitcoin halving occurs and the Bitcoin reward declines, so in April 2024, the Bitcoin halving will occur, so people will earn half of the amount of Bitcoin as they do now. We're currently at 6.25. It will go to 3.125 per block. What will just mean then is the miners will continue to mine. There may be some fluctuations there, but the same amount of energy is used, if not more, as more people decide to mine. What will really change is when there's no Bitcoin left to mine, the miners will be relying purely on Bitcoin transaction fees. So that's when things will change. But right now, with less Bitcoin to mine, it doesn't affect the mining at all, because the same amount of Bitcoin is produced as a reward for every block, no matter whether there is X amount or Y amount. In between every Bitcoin halving, there is the same amount of reward per block. So let's see what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news. Let's analyze the price of Bitcoin today. So we can see here Bitcoin is trading at $26,320. What we can see here is we've created a level of support. That support is between 24,950 and 24,750. We have had a strong bounce from that level of support, which is really, really positive. If we take a look at the RSI and we take a look at the MACD here, I'm expecting to see some bullish momentum here this morning. Let's take a look at this. We are seeing an increase in bullish momentum on the MACD on the daily chart, and we are starting to see the RSI rebalance back at neutral once again, back towards that 50 level there. So positive things here. What are we going to see for the next couple of months? This is a big question we've got here. Now, we are seeing a bounce here. A lot of people are shouting for $12,000, for $20,000, for $5,000. If you go on cryptocurrency Twitter right now, things are changing and people are feeling very, very negative. However, I'm feeling like we could be in for some sideways action. And I keep saying this to you guys over and over again, but we never go as low as people expect in a bear market. We never go as high as people expect in a bull market. We have the positivity of the ETFs. We have a lot of things going on right now. Yes, the price could be pushed down so people can buy in lower. However, I just, with the amount of negativity in the markets, I can't see it just yet. We do have a few more months to go till the Bitcoin halving in April. So there is a period of time here where we could see some fluctuations. We could see some movements to the downside. I do believe we do have a sort of cap on the price upwards potential for Bitcoin for the next couple of months. However, I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling like $26,000 isn't a bad place to buy for my personal portfolio. Neither would $20,000, neither would $10,000. So we just need to take a look at this and price up yourself. Obviously, nothing is financial advice, but these prices are still good. When we get there, if we get to a new all-time high level and we get to approach that previous all-time high of $70,000, I personally won't mind if I've bought in at $26,000 or $20,000 or $12,000 or $5,000. I'll just be glad I bought. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see what's going on here. If the price of Bitcoin is still very low, some of miners may quit if not profitable, I think. Yeah, so if the price of Bitcoin declines during a bear market, then the rewards on the blockchain stays the same. Right now, the Bitcoin reward is 6.25 Bitcoin. Every 10 minutes, a Bitcoin block is mined, and the miner that mines it gets a 6.25 Bitcoin reward. But if the price of Bitcoin declines, then they need to scale up. They need to look at whether it's worth it, because they're spending a huge amount of money on electricity and on hardware, all that equipment to mine the Bitcoin. And if their reward, the 6.25 Bitcoin, is worth a lower dollar value, then it may not be worthwhile, and they may not physically be able to continue through that period of time because their outgoings will be more than their incomings from their Bitcoin mining rewards. So we can see changes like that. So the price of Bitcoin does affect the amount of miners in the market. Some people choose to just turn off their mining rigs until the prices move back to the upside. But with how much Bitcoin is left to mine, that doesn't really affect how many miners there are in the market. So that's a bit of a different approach there. But I think that is all we have really for today's stream, unless there are any more questions in the chat. Let's see what's going up here. Let's see what's going on with the price of Bitcoin right now. We are currently at $26,317. If we take a look at this, it's been pretty choppy on the 15-minute chart, to be honest. We did obviously go back down to $24,900 on Monday. We are now approaching the weekend, so we could be seeing a CME gap. We'll be reporting on that on Monday. And we could be seeing some more sideways action over the weekend there as well. That would be my prediction. But that is all we have for today. Thank you very much for tuning in.